The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melone.
All right, everyone. I hope that we are live and in the room. I am Sophia Melonē, the Debt Demolisher, here to bring you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you manage your financial baggage the right way. I want to welcome you guys to another night on the Debt Demolisher TV. Super excited to be before you guys. Not only are we live streaming on the one and only YouTube, we are also live audio streaming on Clubhouse, the Debt Demolisher TV's Clubhouse room, talking about day 20 of our 21-day financial fast. Now, you guys know that this has been an ongoing journey, and you know that we are almost at the tail end, and we can almost celebrate because we got one more day. And for some of us, we got 7 more days for those of us who are going and stretching it out through the ending of the month. But I just want to let you know that you're in the right space, you're at the right time, and I'm just super excited that you are here, because let me go ahead and change my background so that way we can understand that we are teaching and preaching from the one and only Michelle Singletary's 21-day financial fast book. Now, this day was short and sweet, so I hope that you guys had an opportunity to read through the chapter. It was relatively quick, wasn't long at all, but it gave us some time to really think about relationships. I think it probably took more time for us to think through the exercise that was associated with the assignment, with the reading assignment, as opposed to actually reading the chapter for the day. So the chapter for the day is day 20, and day 20 is all about relationships rescued. Now, before we go into the conversation, I want to pop out the chat so that I can see who's in the room, who's in the building, so I can say hello to my family. It's been a full day for me, and I'm just super excited to be able to be here and start this thing on time. Y'all know what I'm saying? Jesus be a fence. All right, I see Acacia is in the building saying greetings, DDTV family. So good to see you, Acacia. Welcome, 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 welcome all the way back. Go, Acacia. Hey, Acacia, we in the building tonight. I love it. Coach Harut is in the building saying hello, all. Hello, Coach Harut. Let's go. Coach Harut says, I'm already celebrating. She got the party blowers going, the party hat on, and the emojis. I'm loving it because Coach Harut has been on what? Fire. Coach Harut has been on fire. She has been pouring out. She's been coming every day to these sessions. She's been being transparent in her stories. She's been sharing her breakthroughs, sharing her wins, allowing all of us to learn from her experiences, allowing us to lift her up while she's lifting other people up. And in this same regard, we're just doing so much in this fast that we're not just dealing with the money side. We're dealing with the emotional side. We're dealing with the community building side. We're dealing with the accountability side. So I'm loving it. So thank you, Coach Harut, for being in the building and for being an example. Tracy Ann is in the building saying, hey, DDT fam. Hey, DDT fam. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. She said hello to Sophia, Acacia, and Coach Harut. This 3 weeks kind of flew by. It did go by pretty fast, don't y'all think? I was just thinking, I was like, Lord, we 21 days in, because technically, we've been meeting every day for 21 days just on this book. But the reason why we're on day 20 and today is the 21st of February is because we had a catch-up day. And I think it was very honorable for us to have that little catch-up day, had that little break. But some of y'all powered through. Some of y'all just kept going. Some of y'all was ahead. I think Coach Harut was one of the ones who was ahead. I was thinking, I think that she was. I feel like you said that before, Coach Harut, but correct me if I'm wrong. If you started early, I think you might have started early. I feel like I don't know why I feel like I remember that you started early, but nonetheless, Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for still pushing through. And I got some surprises for y'all. So just stay tuned tomorrow. Y'all know how I go. Just stay tuned tomorrow. You never know what I just might say. All right. So Coach Harut is saying hello to Tracy Ann. Tracy Ann says, I've been busy today too, driving home now from my mom's. Oh, hello to your mom, even though you already left her. We did it, ladies. Tracy Ann is celebrating. We did it. We did it. We got one more day. We got one more day. So we still have our work today that we're going to go over. We may have some additional work that we may need to kind of think through, talk through as a result of our discussion tonight. And then we got another assignment tomorrow. So we ain't done. We almost there. We almost there. And then I'll have an announcement for you guys tomorrow as well. Sherry is in the building saying, yes, it went by really fast. Y'all are giving Coach Harut some love, saying hey to her. And Coach Harut is saying, yes, I started early. And Sherry is saying, ooh, goody, surprises. Y'all know how I go, surprises. Surprises. So I want to start out first by saying how interesting it was. Can we just start out right here for a second? Shout out to Family Matters, by the way, because y'all know I stay rocking my Family Matters hat. Shout out to Family Matters. Links is in the description box to Family Matters. Just had to give them a shout out. But it's interesting how in this chapter, she talked about how whoever this person was took the challenge or did the fast in February. This person did the fast in February. Lo and behold, when are we doing the fast? In February. We're doing the fast in February. And I just thought that it was so profound about the alignment between this piece and the book. I didn't think that any of this would come up. I didn't think that there would be any challenges that may come up. People may have spending frenzies around Valentine's Day or holidays or birthdays, whatever may come up in the month of February. But I just feel like, February was the perfect month to do this. It really was the perfect month to do this. So this was my first time reading this book. So as I'm reading this with you guys. So I'm learning and I'm uncovering and I'm reading things for the first time. So I didn't plan this. I just planned that I wanted to cover the book in February. That's it. That's it. And so it turned out perfectly. But nonetheless, the main point of day 20 is taking a break from consumption can help you focus on the most important relationships in your life. That's the main point. That's at the top of page 20, relationships rescued. And I had to ask myself or label the title of today's live stream video or today's Clubhouse room title, which is, are your relationships just as broken as your financial life or your financial relationships or your money relationships? Because I think sometimes we're so often caught up in the stress of our financial situation that we neglect, we disregard, we sometimes don't really pay much attention to nurturing the most priceless currency that we have, which is love. And I think I put that in the caption of the morning inspiration post that went out on the community page at 9 a.m. this morning, because the quote of the day also came from page 224, which is, going through the fast and taking a break from consumption can help you focus and work on healing the most important relationships in your life. Now, there's different levels of relationships. There's the relationships with ourselves. It's our relationships with others. It's our relationship with God. It's our relationship with our faith. It's our relationship with our minds. And it's our relationship with our money. So we know that this fast essentially is helping us to reel in, redefine our relationship with money by bringing us into a state of awareness. Because when we feel like we've been so defeated by our finances, or if we feel so disappointed in the way that we may have operated in our finances, whenever we feel like I just don't like the way that my financial life looks, it could cause us to not even focus on the most invaluable, most prominent currency, which is the exchange of love, the exchange of care, the exchange of connection, the exchange of just being in love, being, and not just like in love with a significant other, but being in love of gratitude, being in love of appreciation, being in love of connectivity, being in love of service. What was that? And when I read the pledge as well, the pledge reminded me of, and I'll just read it and you could tell me what it reminded you of. So the pledge is, I will call a close relative or friend with whom I have exchanged gifts in the past and come up with an agreement that on the next birthday, anniversary, or holiday, we will not spend money on each other, but spend time with each other instead. This is Michelle Singletary's Day 20 pledge. When I read that piece, I circled it and I immediately wrote in the margin, VYS, Vet Your Spending Challenge. For those of you who participated in the Vet Your Spending Challenge in November of 2021, that's when we were doing it live on YouTube. When I was doing it in prior years, I was doing it on other social media platforms. But for November 2021, Vet Your Spending Challenge, most of you guys who are here have more than likely been a part of the most recent Vet Your Spending Challenge that we did. And if you recall, one of the days, we talked a lot about how to really think about what we're buying and why, and understanding that we don't always have to spend money on someone to show love. And one of the challenges that I had you guys think of was think of alternatives. I had you guys think of, okay, in lieu of this, what can I do? So you had to have the conversations. You had to do the Shark Tank exercise. You had to be transparent. You had to put people on notice. You had to let them know that things are changing and you're not just going to be buying things just because you said that you want it. If you want something, or if you feel like you need something, it has to have a connection, or it has to have a meaning to the both of us, and not fulfilling a need or fulfilling a feeling from an insecure space. So that just made me think of that. I just said Vet Your Spending Challenge when I read that piece. So you guys have already been kind of doing this work. So this isn't really new to you, because y'all should have been betting y'all spendings this last holiday season. And as I said before, what you did for the Vet Your Spending Challenge in preparation for the Christmas season, you can use it for any holiday or any special occasion. It's all about the process of developing your rubric for making financial decisions when it comes to gift giving. That was a whole word. Let me see who's in the building. I think I see Coach Natisha's in the building. Okay. Hold on. I think I saw a lot of y'all popped in. All right. We've really been here every day too. No excuses. Come on, Tracy Ann. That's right. No excuses. Let's go. Sherry is in agreement with you on that. Lat is in the building saying, hey, everybody. Hey, Lat. So good to see you once again. Welcome to the room. Welcome to the room. Y'all are giving Sherry some love. Y'all saying, hey, back and forth. Q Scott just dropped in the building. Hey, Q Scott. Hey, Q Scott. I don't know why I always sing that when I hear your name. So forgive me if I just start breaking out dancing or breaking out rapping. I don't know. Just comes out. Just comes out. Coach Letitia's in the building saying shalom, so Mel and DBTV fam. Much love. I'm driving, family. Evening to you all. I'm listening. We hear you, Coach Letitia. Please drive safe. We hear you and we know you in the room. Thank you so much for being here. We all giving you love. They saying, Lat is saying, hey, Coach. Coach Harut is saying, hey, Coach Letitia. Sherry is saying, hey, Coach Tish. Mama Tish in the building. Lat is saying, Tracy Ann Q Scott. Hey. Tracy Ann is saying, hey, Coach Tish. And yep, y'all giving Q Scott some love. Hey, Q, didn't see you in the room. Hey there, so reminds me of the Bet Your Spending Challenge. That's right, Q. You got it. You got it. Showing up was the Bet Your Spending Challenge. Sherry saying, hey to Q. And then yes, Tracy just jumped off a call a little later, came in quietly. Hey there, you all too, you all. All right, awesome, y'all. Y'all know I like to read the chats. So thank you for your participation in the chats. Chats get me excited. So we talked about the quote. We talked about the reminder of the Bet Your Spending Challenge just based on the pledge. But here's another piece that I want us to think about when it comes to maybe feeling some type of frustration with maybe some of the decisions that you've made in the past, or maybe even feeling like some of the decisions that you made that impacted you financially is going to keep you stuck and keep you where you are. So Michelle Singletary gives the example of a couple who was filing for a divorce. And the only reason why they didn't file for the divorce was because they said that they couldn't afford an attorney. So apparently there was a lot of tension that was in their relationship, and the husband, the spouse, almost lost what they call it, that good government job. He almost lost his good government job over here on Clubhouse. He almost lost his good government job. And that happened because the security clearance was pulled away because of the bad credit history that he had. But here's where the redemption comes in. If you read at the top of page 225, she says, but after budgeting, cutting their expenses, and participating in the fast, the husband's security clearance was reinstated. Now I want to pause there before we go into the space of the conversation around relationships. That statement just in and of itself has so much power. That statement in and of itself gives tangible evidence of encouragement, tangible evidence of restoration, tangible evidence of a complete turnaround. Meaning, even if you've made poor financial decisions in the past, that does not mean that you cannot get out of the situation and be back into good standing. Because everything that happens in life, there's always going to be peaks and there's always going to be valleys. There's always going to be highs and there's always going to be lows. So when you understand this concept, if you think from this perspective, that even if I'm down right now, that doesn't mean that I can't make myself back up on the incline. That does not mean that I can't get myself out of that space. As long as you are focusing on the downturn, as long as you are focusing on the repercussion of what happened, maybe the security clearance being snatched because of the bad credit report, if you stay worrying and tethering and upset and worrying and frustrated around down here, which is when the dip happened, which is when the security clearance got snatched, which was when the credit scores dropped. If you stay down here and you're not focusing on, okay, how can I rebuild? If you're not focusing on, okay, how can I course correct? If you're not focusing, okay, how can I get myself back on the incline? You're going to stay in the dip. So if you feel like you're in a space where you've hit your lowest of your low ever in your lifetime financially, and you feel like you're barely able to even look up, back up towards the hill, I want to remind you of this story. I want to remind you of your story, that your courage, the courage that it's going to take for you to come out of wallowing within this bad thing that happened, the repercussion that happened, the downslide that happened, the courage that it's going to take for you to not only look up, but do something about it so that you can get up and start inclining. Because if you don't focus on your way out, you're never going to get out. If you don't focus on the reinstatement that has your name on it, you're never going to reach it. So whenever you feel like I've messed up, or it may even not even be something that you've caused intentionally. It could have been something that was caused by the person that you're attached to legally. And because of that, you inadvertently have to take the hit. You inadvertently have to come into the space of trying to recover. You inadvertently get caught up in that downslide. If you release any anger, frustration, disappointment that may be associated with that downslide, regardless of who put you there, if it was you or somebody else, if you change your energy to focus on the possibility that reinstatement is waiting for you, you just have to get your mind shifted, get your mind out of the negative and into the positive. Because the positive is the only thing that's really going to push you and help you incline even faster. Okay. Now let's talk about relationships. The story that I just gave, not the one that we just talked about, but the one before that about identifying that this person did the fast in February and how we're doing the fast in February, and how her doing the fast within this month was very challenging for her because it was Valentine's Day. And every year for Valentine's Day, she would inundate her mom with all of these gifts and ways to show love, which of course was equivalent to $sign on her end, not the mama's end, but on her end. So when she was going through this challenge, she was like, I don't know if I can do it. Valentine's Day is coming up. I normally do all of this stuff for my mom. I normally go all out. Some of y'all do this for your kids. Some of y'all go all out for your kids on Valentine's Day. Because of the routine, we often spend to avoid or put a Band-Aid on some hole that is within the relationship that we have with another person, regardless if it's a significant other, or if it's a family member, or if it's someone that you birthed, or if it's someone who you have claimed responsibility of, whether legally or through the honor system, whatever your verbal agreement was to that other person. So what Michelle Singletary encouraged this person to do was, instead of writing gifts, write a letter. Find another way to show your mom love. Didn't we cover that in the Vet Your Spending Challenge? Find another way. Find another way, an alternative to still show love to your family, to your loved ones, to whoever's in your life, without the need to have to spend a ridiculous amount of money on them. Just short term, just see if you can do it. That was one of the days we covered in the Vet Your Spending Challenge. So instead of this person in the book buying an expensive gift, she wrote the letter to her mother. And she proceeds to say that she did not have the greatest relationship with her mother. And she had been asking God for a way to reach her and break the barrier that had separated them for so many years. She said, and I'm just going to say her name because she in the book, Shirley. Shirley said, I've had a real hard life and wanted to discuss it with my mom, but she never wanted to talk about the past. How many of us have parents who don't want to talk about what happened in the past? How many relationships do we have with other people where they don't want to revisit a past situation, even though it may be hurtful, but because the healing was never placed there, somebody didn't get the healing that they needed, the hole is still there. The hurt is still there. The unforgiveness is still there. The resentment is still there. So instead of us addressing that, we want to mask it with the glitter. We want to mask it with the gifts. We want to mask it with the money. We want to mask it with the flowers. We want to mask it with traveling, giving them traveling. What is it? Traveling experiences instead of dealing with the root of healing the relationship. And honestly and truthfully, I can really understand why it's hard for a lot of people to be able to talk about the past, especially if there was a lot of hurt involved. And I got to close the book for a second. Because a lot of our households have not been either encouraged or have not been supported in the realm or aspect of therapy, of personal development, of coaching, of counseling. So because all we're used to is not sharing your feelings, not telling nobody what's going on, keeping your business to yourself, you are burying years of frustration, of unconscious dysfunction. And I'm going to tell you all flat out from my own personal experiences. Y'all know I tell my story. I had a rough life. Y'all already know. I've been in foster care, some more stuff as a child. Growing up in a house with a mentally ill parent, single parent at that, is not the easiest. But nonetheless, I remember when anything related to therapy or having to see a social worker or any of that in my young days growing up was like a stigma. Nobody wanted to talk about it. You kept it a secret. You kept it a secret if you had to go see a social worker for whatever reason. I mean, I didn't have to unless it was kind of like tied to like me actually getting taken, from my mom or whatever, temporarily, because she ended up getting us back. But because we don't allow or we don't have that comfortable space to be okay with speaking, we bury a lot of things. And it wasn't until I had my first personal development retreat experience, and I tell y'all this all the time, I feel like Lisa Nichols, I feel like the Lord led me to Lisa Nichols because I didn't know anything about her. I never heard anything about her, didn't know anything about her. I came across a clip. Hear me out, y'all. I came across a clip of her on an interview. I think it was called Quest at the time because they changed the name and it was like Impact Theory now. But it was an interview, a Quest interview. And it was just a snippet. And she was sharing her story. They took the snippet of her sharing her story. And I was like, who is this woman? That clip was like a minute. And I was so intrigued that I had to go and find out who she was. I was so intrigued that I went to search for her on Google. I went to search for her on YouTube. I went and searched for her on Facebook because I said, who is this woman? Because I wanted to hear the rest of her story, because that snippet was only a minute. And when I found her page, I found something, and I ended up registering for it was a Speak and Write to Make Millions event, May 3rd through the 5th, if I'm not mistaken, or May the 2nd through the 5th, one of them, 2017. So I get in this live stream, because it was all virtual. I mean, some people were there. It wasn't all virtual, but some people were there physically in La Jolla, California. And then for those of us who couldn't travel, of course, you could stream in. So I was streaming in, and it was 3 days of like intense work, 3 days of just personal development work about writing books and a whole bunch of nuggets, a whole bunch of wisdom, a whole bunch of exercises. And she even gave us the virtual space to be able to do that. And I was able to gain some connections just from being in that experience virtually on May 3rd or 4th, 5th, one of them days, 2017. So on the 3rd day, Lisa Nichols is on the stage, and she mentions about a retreat. And she says that she's going to put this off. She's going to tell us about this retreat, and only those who are present can know about it. So you either had to be in the live stream room or physically at the live event that was in La Jolla. And as she was explaining this retreat, y'all, I was sitting and watching the monitor. And it's funny because I still have screenshots, because y'all know, I like to keep video diaries. I like to keep record. I like to keep memories. So I have screen recordings of just some of the clips, snapshots, screenshots of just some of the days of the event, so that I can always remember where my transformation into personal development formally began. So when she was going through, she was talking about the retreat. I remember she had on this blue and white striped shirt, and she had on these fly, I think they were white pants. They were either white pants or navy blue pants. It may have been navy blue pants, and this navy blue and striped kind of top. She had red curly fro hair on the stage. And she says about this retreat, if you feel like you need a breakthrough, if you feel like the things that she was saying, I was like, oh my God. I said, I know I need to be there. That's all I said. I don't know. I know I need to be there. Then she says this retreat is going to be in Mexico. I said, oh my goodness. She says this retreat is going to be in Mexico. And I'm like, okay. So do y'all know I signed up for this retreat, paid the most money I ever paid in my life ever in one transaction. And I traveled to this retreat by myself. I got my flight. I got my tickets. I responded to all of the pre-work and stuff that we had to do. I got all of that stuff done. And I show up at this retreat by myself, not knowing anybody, getting on the bus, by myself. This is my first time ever traveling anywhere by myself, let alone out of the country. So we get to this retreat, and I'm in this retreat, and she has us doing all of these exercises. And I don't know why I kept raising my hand. I don't know why I kept responding to the questions. And even after I would raise my hand or put my hand down, I would feel like, oh my God, why did I just put my hand up? Why did I just put my hand up? Because depending on who raised their hands, you get called by numbers. So depending on what number you are, it could take you at least 20 minutes before somebody gets to you. So as everybody else is getting called, I'm like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have put my hand up. I shouldn't have put my hand up. I was like, why did I put my hand up? And the microphone gets to me, and I say something that I have never said in my entire life about what happened, about an incident that happened in my childhood times, adolescent, childhood is anywhere from 17 and younger. And I mentioned this thing and I spoke from my heart and it just started coming out. And as soon as I finished, I dropped the microphone because I was in tears. I dropped the microphone and I ended up saying, I'm so embarrassed. I said, I'm so embarrassed. And apparently someone who was beside me heard me say or heard me utter, I'm so embarrassed. And this person leaned over to me, put their hand around my shoulder and whispered in my ear and said, you have no need to be embarrassed, in the softest, gentlest voice. And that was when my breakthrough started. After that, it was over. I blacked out. We had different experiences. I blacked out. I was on the floor for 2 hours. If anybody was in the 2017 Abundance Now Breakthrough Retreat, you know what I'm talking about. I didn't even remember what happened. My roommate at the retreat ended up telling me that I was on the floor for 2 hours and I never blinked, not once. I literally had an outer body experience because of the amount of release that I was able to have from years of burying stuff that I couldn't even talk to my own family members about. What I said in that room, I said to complete strangers that I never met. Never met, never knew, never seen, never heard of. But it freed me. It freed me. They told me that I was blacked out. I was crying. They even said I was kicking. They said I was almost kicking at Lisa. And Lisa was trying to console me because I was down on the ground. Well, everybody was trying to console me with what they said. Everybody was trying to hold me down. But it was crazy. And I don't remember none of it. I remember going down to the ground. I remember that. And then I don't remember anything else. I remember where I went down on the ground, and then I remember where I woke up. I was way on the other side. I was on the other side of the room in the corner, laid out. They said I was out for 2 hours. And they just let me lay. And my roommate, I think she was holding me. I think that's how she knew, because she said, you didn't blink. She said, when I tell you you didn't blink, you did not blink. She said the tears was just rolling from your eyes. She said the tears were just rolling from your eyes and you did not blink. I got chills. That is the power of what freeing yourself can do. But you got to have a healthy environment in order to be able to do that. So what did I do? Every year after that, I went to a Lisa Nichols retreat. I will not lie to y'all. I went in 2017. I went in 2018. I went twice in 2019. And then, of course, 2020, the pandemic happened. And 2021, the pandemic's still going on. And I don't even know if I would like to do it again, but I really want to get comfortable with the whole traveling abroad thing. So I don't know if I'm there yet. But whenever we get back to a state of normalcy, the retreat is something that I do every year. For me, for me, that's my sense of release. That's my sense of personal development and growing, because it changed the game for me. It really did. So how many years of unspoken hurt are you holding on to and masking it with the financial decisions that you make? Because we do that. And again, I started my debt freedom journey of January 2016. So I had the observation December 31st, 2015, January 1st, 2016. I said, I'm trying to get debt free. it was like a light switch went off. And it took me 1.5 years. Hear me out now. It took me 1.5 years to realize that my spending was as a result of the broken relationship that I had within myself. So it took me 1.5 years after being introduced to personal development, because I told y'all I found out about this in 2017. After being introduced to personal development, I was able to make the connection. Oh, I spent out of insecurity. I charged out of insecurity because I didn't love myself. And I let my desire for other people to love me to dictate how I would spend my money on them, how I would charge for them, how I would do things for them. But your story may not be my story. Yours may be you spend, you give out of masking an unhealed relationship that you are connected to, whether it be your parents, your children, your spouse, your ex-spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it. So I appreciated what Michelle Singletary pointed out in day 20, which I kind of wish it, well, no, I think everything is done in perfect timing, because we needed to lead up to this space for us to see that the less we focus on the financial stress that we may be in, the less we focus on the status or the current state of our financial situation, whether it be you've amassed so much debt, whether it be you've lost a significant amount of reserve, whether it be you've lost a significant amount of your wealth portfolio, and you're in a space of a rut, to understand that the relationships, the human connection is far greater than any amount of monetary currency. She says another thing on here, which I thought was powerful, and we even talked about this on the Bet Your Spending Challenge as well. So I'm reading from page 126. The healing surely found, and this is the person who wrote the letter to her mom. And by the way, she said that the letter was so freeing, and she wrote like a 7-page letter to her mother. She said the letter was so long that the mother didn't even want to read it. And then finally, out of curiosity, she finally read the letter that her daughter had written to her. And she said that her mother said that she laughed, she cried, a whole bunch of other stuff. And after that, they've been able to talk almost every day, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, they've been able to talk almost every day. So Michelle Singletary says the healing surely found might have never happened had she continued to celebrate the holiday by buying something for her mother. So often, we busy ourselves with shopping for our friends and family that we don't have the conversations we need to have. What conversations do you need to have? That leads me to the title of this video. Are your relationships just as broken as your financial money situation, life? The presents, presents, become more important than our presence, presence. We definitely talked about that during the Bet Your Spending Challenge. We try to use the tangible presents, the gifts, the buying, the spending, to express the love that only our words and actions can convey. I got to repeat that. We try to use the tangible presents, gifts, items, things to express the love that only our words and actions can convey. And this is why I say your expression of love is the most prominent currency that you could ever have as a human. Your expression of love is the most prominent way, the most prominent currency, the most prominent influence that you can have as a living human being. Because what does it say? Love conquers all. Love conquers all. But sometimes we think that the money that we have, we could use to buy love. We could use to replace the feeling of our physical love, being thought of, being considered, being asked about, being thoughtful. Y'all know my coworker sent me flowers. My coworker sent me flowers out of appreciation. Do y'all know how that made me feel? I broke down. I was so emotional. Because first I was surprised. I said, who in the world is sending me flowers? I said, what did I do to deserve this? I wasn't expecting it. And I opened up the card and it's from my coworker, whom I haven't had a chance to see in over 2 years because we've been in this pandemic. But just to know that I was being thought of through appreciation, that's love on a different level. And it doesn't have to be intimate love. It's about the connectedness, the showing of appreciation, letting someone know that you're thinking about them, sending them a note of encouragement. Because I was feeling down that week. I got those flowers on a Thursday and it was a rough week. I had headaches every night that week after logging off from work. Had headaches every night. I was exhausted. The only time my headaches went away was when I went live on this channel. I ain't lying to y'all. The moment I turn the camera on, the moment we go live, it's like the headache disappears. It's like the energy drought disappears. It's like all of that disappears. And then when it's said and done, boom. Back to the headaches, going to sleep with the headache, stress, thinking about work, thinking about this, thinking about all the decisions I have to make. It's a lot on the body. But when those flowers came, it allowed me to be grateful for the present, meaning being grateful for the now. So it allowed me to take my mind off of the work stress. It allowed me to take my mind off of the health things that are happening with my mom. It allowed me to take my mind off of the worry that I was having over my dad. It allowed me to take my mind off of all of the pressure that I was feeling because I was grateful. And it taught me too, the reminder of nourishing the relationships that we have. So this was a perfect segue to jump into this, because sometimes we neglect our relationships for the sake of money, because we got to work, because we got to do this, because we got to put food on the table, because we got to go here. And I'm convicted because I know I'm a working somebody. I'm a working somebody, and I don't have any problems being by myself. I don't have any problems being alone. None whatsoever. But I have to realize too that relationships require not only attention, but it requires nourishment. So if I'm just focusing on my attention on everything that I need to meet my financial goals, to meet my financial lifelines, to meet my financial decisions, then I'm neglecting something else. I'm not being as attentive as I could be to the friendships and the relationships that I have on a friend level. I'm not talking about intimacy because y'all know I'm single. I've been single for a while and I don't know when the Lord gonna bless me with a husband. But until then, I'm waiting and I'm cooling and I'm gonna keep doing my purpose work. So I need to focus on nourishing the friendships that I have, the sisterhoods that I have, and that I've been able to maintain for years. But sometimes it could be so easy for me to withdraw. I'm telling on myself. I remember when Lisa Nichols had us do an exercise because she does challenges a lot. So you guys know I talk about Lisa a lot. I'm going to link her channel in the description and in the description box after this live stream ends. I didn't think I was going to talk about her today, but we talking about her today. Okay. And I'm going to put her stuff in the chat, in the description box. But I remember it was a challenge that she did. I think it was maybe 2019, 2020, maybe, I think. She did a challenge and she had us do an exercise, like evaluating 4 levels. I think it was just 4 levels. And I had to rate my relationships, my finances, my spiritual life, and my physical life. I think it was the health. And y'all know what my highest score was out of those 4 buckets? Finances. Y'all know what my lowest score was out of those 4 buckets? Relationships. I said, ouch. I said, ouch. The reason why my finance score was so high is because that's where I was pouring all of my attention into. The reason why my relationship scores were so low is because that is what I have been neglecting. That is what I have been avoiding. That is what I have been nonchalant about. That is what I have been putting on the back burner, unprioritizing it, unless it related to my mom. Then I drop everything and I got to do what I got to do for my mama. But I had to ask myself, do I want to have a one-sided type of friendship? And I even said, I said to myself, I said, I'm not a good friend. I said, I'm not a good friend. I don't check on my people as often as I should. And it can be a lot because I got a lot of friends. I know a lot of people. So one of the things that Lisa Nichols tried to teach us is to create balance and harmony between that. If you want to improve in this area, then put it on your calendar. Make an intentional place for it. If you know that you aren't having connection calls with your friends, with your family, with your relatives, with people you grew up with, you got to find a way to put it in front of you so that you can remember. And I'm still working on it. It can get hard. It can get hard. Matter of fact, I'm going to FaceTime my niece back once we finish, because y'all know I ain't get to FaceTime her back last night. I'm going to FaceTime her when we finish. But yeah, personal development has changed my life, and I'm still working through personal development because I know I need more work in the relationship aspect. I feel like I had to start with my relationship with myself. Granted, I still have some insecurities that I'm trying to deal with and battle, but it's not as bad as it was because personal development is ongoing. It's ongoing. That's what I learned. You got to stay in this work. You got to keep doing the work. You got to keep working on yourself because you're going to be getting hit at different levels. Once you graduate from one space of personal development, it's a whole nother level that you're going to have to be able to get through. And in order for you to be able to get through the tackles and the demands and the challenges and the strongholds at that level, you got to keep doing the work. So, yeah. Okay, let me read what's going on in the chat. I know I said a whole lot, but let me see what's going on. I thought the marriage story was powerful as well. It's like that was God led because they didn't have the money to file. And by the time their finances were repaired, then their marriage was too. I said, come on, Tracy Ann, you better say it. Look up and get up and put one foot in front of the other. Yes, that's right, Q Scott. That's right. Very powerful, Tracy Ann. I did to myself. Oh, I said to myself, look at God. Amen. Yep. All right. I like the mother and daughter letter story too. It was touching that through their fast, their relationship was elevated. Yes. Come on, elevated. Yes, the Bet Your Spending Challenge incorporated so much of what she shares in this book. Yeah, y'all. And I tell y'all, I told y'all I made the Bet Your Spending Challenge up in a day. I made the Vet Your Spending Challenge up just from an outline. One of my business coaches had challenged us, Susie Carter. She had challenged us to do a 30-day challenge. She said, just pick a month, do a 30-day challenge. And we were in the month of October at this point. I said, okay, well, November's coming up. Veterans Day is in November. And I just said, bet your spending. Bet your spending for the holidays. And then I wrote an outline, 30 days, just titles. That was it. Just thinking through what would be necessary in order to effectively vet your spending. And I came up with the curriculum off the cuff by going live. So I didn't have any notes. I didn't have any scripts. I didn't have any of that. I just had the day and the title. And I had an outline of my flow, like what's going to be my leading story, per point, whatever. It was like 5 things that I had to remind myself so I can do it in order so that it can flow well. And I've been doing the Vet Your Spending Challenge every year now. Made it up overnight. And all of the concepts, like Coach Harut, Q Scott just said, pretty much the Vet Your Spending Challenge is in this book. And I never read this book until now. I ain't lying to y'all. I ain't lying to y'all. Right? So it's easier to put the Band-Aid on the wound than it is to stitch it up. Come on, Tracy Ann, preach. Yes, it's hard to talk about the past. I will be transparent and say a few years before my mother passed, she apologized to me for not being fully there to raise me. I can say I live in peace. Ooh, Coach Harut, that is deep. And that's the power of a conversation. That's the power of a conversation. How someone else's words to you can free you, how your words to someone else can free you. And sometimes, your words to someone else can free them and at the same time free you. Powerful thing. So we got to be willing to be okay to have the conversations, even if it may feel tough, even if we have to admit our wrongs, even if we have to challenge ourselves with taking the initiative to get the process started. Praise Jesus. So I didn't know. I'm so glad you're here blessing us. God is so amazing. Thank you, Lat. God is so amazing. He is so amazing. When I tell y'all, he has covered me far too many times. He hears me way too many times. And he shows me that he hears me way too many times. I know he will, and I know that he hears me. I'm telling you, I have story upon story upon story upon story. Story upon story upon story. Not just the one that y'all know about with the whole Tony Gaskins thing, but even other situations, I just think about how God has protected me, how he has kept me, how he has shielded me from the devourer. There has been times when I think back to myself and I said, oh my gosh, I could have been slain in this basement and not nobody would have known. I could have been slain in this basement and not no one would have known. But the spirit of protection covered me. Covered me. And had this person say, no, you can't touch God's child. You can't touch God's child. I remember another time I was driving. This was when it was like unexpected snow. It was like sleet and ice is really what it was. So they were calling for a real bad snowstorm. And I was leaving work, actually trying to get to my boyfriend at the time house. And I'm driving because the roads are so icy. And so I'm trying to avoid having to go up hills, or if I'm seeing that cars are stuck, I'm like, all right, I'm not going to go that way. I'm going to go a different way. And I remember getting to a specific street that will require me to go up, like up a hill. And I was like, no, I'm just going to turn. I said, let me turn down here and then go around and then, go around. So I turn and I'm driving down this busy street, this Pennsylvania Avenue. Y'all in DC, Pennsylvania Avenue is a lot of lanes. So it's on both sides. But with Pennsylvania Avenue, there's a median like in the middle in DC. So I was in the far left lane, so closer to closer to where the median is. So it's not like another car from across the street can fly over unless they fly over the grass and all of that. But I'm driving down the street and I'm going so slow because the street ends up going like into a downhill. So instead of me going up a hill, when I turned, I was going down a hill. But it wasn't like too deep. It was probably like this, like that. And I'm driving and I'm going slow, and I'm riding down the street. And there's a van that's in the center lane, because it's 3 lanes. So I'm in the left lane. There's a van in the right lane, in the center lane. And I think the right lane was clear. Nobody was there. So I'm driving slow. And all of a sudden, my car starts to turn like this. My car starts to turn like this. So it's starting to skid. And I'm like, and all I can see is me staring like, oh my gosh, I'm getting ready to hit the back of this van. I'm getting ready to run into this van. I'm getting ready to hit this van. So I remember grabbing onto the steering wheel and I was clenching onto the brake because my foot was already on the brake. So it wasn't like it could get any lower. So I'm holding on to the brake and my car like this. And I'm like, Jesus, 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 Jesus. I'm calling on Jesus like it ain't nobody's business. And do y'all know I was this close? I was this close to hitting that van, to hitting the back of that van. And do you know, all of a sudden, the back of my SUV, I got an SUV, the back of my SUV went like this. My car shifted so hard that I thought someone hit me. I thought someone hit me from the left side because it shook straight. Less than an inch probably from hitting that van, all of a sudden, my car went zoop. Because when it was sliding like this, and it was sliding sideways. And it went zoop. And it scared me. And I looked in my rearview mirror and there was nothing behind me. No car in sight, no truck in sight, nothing behind me. I said, what in the world? I said, what in the world? I promise y'all, it felt like an angel came down and just made my car go straight. I'm not lying. And it's not like somebody could have, because it was the thing in the middle. So it's not like somebody could have tapped me from another lane, because there was no other lane. The other lane was way on the other side. So that just floored me. And that just shows that there is power in the name. Y'all better know it's power in the name. Power in the name. I had stories for days. I got more stories, but that's just two y'all just heard, at least that y'all heard on this channel. Plenty other stories where I know he's just kept me. So I thank you, Lord. I thank you. All right, so let's go to the assignment, and then we're gonna close out. Let me see if we got some more comments. I think it jumped down. I guess I was talking. Somebody must have said something. Yes, Lisa Nichols' story is so powerful and it's real. I had the pleasure of meeting her at my sister and her high school reunion. Let's go, Coach Root. That's right, because y'all know Coach Root is in Kakalaki. She's in Kakalaki, so they definitely grew up in the same area, in the same neighborhood. Yes, Coach Root. Yes, I love it. I love it. Is this the retreat where you were sitting next to and you recently shared her clip? Oh no, the one I was sitting next to her, that was at the speaking event. So that was at Constance Carter's Wealth Empowerment Summit. So Constance Carter has a nonprofit organization, Catalyst Community Connections, and she had put on a Wealth Empowerment Summit. Lisa was the headline speaker. Dr. George Frazier was also one of the speakers. And there were a couple of other speakers that was a part of the Wealth Empowerment Summit. And I had the pleasure and the honor. Lord, that was a blessing in and of itself to be one of the speakers at that event too. And I still actually have the certificate from the city of Stockton, because they issued all of the speakers a certificate. So I have it in my brag binder, my certificate from the city of Stockton for participating in that. But that's what that clip was from. Wow, Jesus was digging and healing, loving Christ. Let me tell you, he was digging and healing me. Because when I tell you he free, I felt that you just had to be there. You just had to be there. I remember when we finally went to dinner, because I think I was the last one in that space because I was in the room for so long. Then I finally got to make it to the dinner. And when I made it to the dinner, everybody was staring at me because I was passed out on the floor for 2 hours. They were like, I've never seen anything like it. I said, I can't even imagine. It wasn't like anybody could record it because we don't have technology. I mean, it's like a technology free space. So you're not really supposed to have your phones and your computers and all of that. But yeah. So all I can know is based on what they told me and from what I could remember before the blackout happened and after the blackout happened. But yeah, I was out for 2 hours. That was the Lord. So that's why my hand kept going up and I kept second guessing myself. I was like, I don't know these people. I said, I ain't about to say nothing. And all of a sudden my hand go up. I'm like, what the world? All right. That was a deep spiritual release. Amen. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yep, you've attended several of her retreats. Never mind, the clip was from the speaker. Oh, okay, you saw it. Okay. Yep. Okay, you guys. All right. Coach Ruth says Lisa Nichols has an Accelerate and Expire Summit. Yes. Speaking of which, I was on that summit today. Because I was on the summit today. Yeah, actually, I was on the summit today. So that was today. It started today from the 1st to the 24th. So if you guys go to Lisa Nichols' page on Facebook, if you go to her page on YouTube, you may be able to see it on YouTube, but you could still register for the Accelerate and Inspire Summit. It's free. She does it for 5 days. Jump into work. Today was so good. I'm going to tell y'all another story. Where's my little piece of paper? Hey, what'd I do with it? Oh, it's right here. This is what I did. So during today, Accelerate and Inspire Summit, this was just the first day. Of course, when I tell you they go deep, they go deep. But she had us go into a breakout room and respond to a question that said, if I knew I couldn't fail, I would do such and such. What I would do if I knew I couldn't fail. And when she said it, the first thing that came to my mind was what it was. I'm not going to repeat it right now, but the first thing that came to my mind was what it was. But then when she said, well, I'm going to put you guys in groups, in breakout rooms, and you guys are going to share amongst yourself what your response is to the sentence now. And so I'm like, okay. So then we get into this room. And at first I was going to change what I was going to change it, but I was like, no, I'm just going to say whatever it was that I said that came to my mind when she first said it. So it's 3 of us in this breakout room. I've never met any of these people, it was just a random pull on the Zoom because I was joining through Zoom because she has it on Facebook. But then if you're like the premier, you can get inside of the Zoom call. So I was in the Zoom call. So I'm in the Zoom call and we're in this breakout group and it's 3 of us. It's myself, it's probably a fair or middle-aged woman, and then there's an older woman in the group. And so I'm like saying hi to folks, but we didn't have that much time. So I was like, well, do y'all want to start? Do y'all want me to start? And so they're like, yeah, you can go ahead. So I just end up saying mine. And I said mine, finished mine. The next person went, and this person said, wow, mine is pretty much the same thing as yours. And so we're like, wow. And then the last person went, which was the older person. And she starts to share a little bit about where she is. And then the words that she said to us directly spoke to each of our situations. At least that's what I felt. And when I tell you that, when you go in breakout rooms, if it's timed, it'll automatically kick you out of the room once the time runs out. So when the last person was speaking, shared her piece, she was speaking to us and like sharing with us, like I would always say, do what you love and da, 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 da. It was almost like the perfect prayer. And do you know that right when she finished her sentence, the room cut out and we were back in the main room. It felt so angelic. I said, how divine is that? How divine was that? And I don't know if I'm ever going to see any of those women ever again, because it was like 700, 900 people in the Zoom room. I couldn't even find their names after the fact. It was so many people in the Zoom room. But the only thing that I could do was just share how I had chills. I had chills after exiting that room, because it was like the very last sentence. It was almost like an angelic message to the both of us, not just me, but I know it spoke to me. And I was like, wow. So I wrote that down. And then after I heard what she said, I started to ask myself a question, reflecting on what she said. And then I said, but would that be irresponsible? And let me tell y'all what the Lord said to me. Let me tell y'all what the Lord said to me. I wrote it down. Know what you need before you take off. Know what you need, in other words, before you launch, before you leap. Be clear on what you need. And then the next part of it is, what will it take for it to happen? Y'all know I'm a questions person, and questions help me think because I'm analytical. So if I need to figure something out, I'm asking questions. But I just felt like today was so ordained. Everything was so ordained. That group was just, I was like, wow. Wow. And that goes to show, imagine if I changed what I said I was going to say. If I would have changed what I said I was going to say, the lady of wisdom, the last person who spoke, her message probably would have changed to us. Imagine the aha moment that the other person had, because the same thing that she said was the same thing that I said before we even got in the room. So once I finished speaking, the first thing that she said was, wow, that's the same thing. We're pretty much on the same page. And then the lady of wisdom shared her piece, but had a message of confirmation to the both of us, a message of encouragement to the both of us. And then to say it with completeness, to the point where she didn't get cut off. She completed her full thought, and then the room closed. Y'all can't tell me that ain't heavenly. I don't know. But if you can, it's 3 hours, 4 hours. I think we went 3 or 4 hours, and then I had a call, so I had to get off, because she did live Q&A too. She did coaching calls. I was like, dang, I would have a meeting at 4 o'clock. So now I got to get off. But it was good. So if you were in the Zoom room, you could do you could be a part of like the coaching call that she did. I don't know if she's gonna do it every day, but for sure they had a Q&A afterwards, after they finished live streaming on the inside of the Facebook group. So definitely find Lisa Nichols, follow her page if you're on Facebook, follow her page on YouTube. I've linked her page before. I'm going to link it again. Transformation. If that's what you want, she going to get your whole mind right. Whole mind right. And speaking of which I didn't even have this plan, but this is the book that we're going to be reading for March. Can you see it? You can't see it. Sorry, y'all. Here you go. This is what we're going to be reading for March. Abundance Now, Lisa Nichols. And I'm doing it in honor of Women's Month, because Women's Month starts in March. And I want to continue to support and teach from our female authors. So this month, we did Michelle Singletary. Next month on the live stream, we're going to be reading from this, teaching from this. Abundance Now by Lisa Nichols. And then for those of you who are on Patreon, for y'all that's on Patreon, you better get ready. Because I already dropped the book that we're going to be covering inside of Patreon. Because you know, Patreon is it's my personal financial education book club. I have a desire to grow the largest financial education, personal finance book club. And it's starting on the Patreon platform under the Debt Demolisher TV. So on Sunday, I announced that the next book, so that way, for those of you who are on Patreon, we're wrapping up the fast. So you can plan now to put that in your budget, to find the book. I'm not going to announce the book. You got to be in Patreon to find out the book. But if you are on the Patreon page, I'm sharing it in advance, so that way you can have a couple of days to get it in your budget and get the book before we start. Because we're starting, intros start on March 1st. Letting y'all know. We getting all the way in for that one. That one is going to be good. So we're going to kind of have two things going on. Of course, we're still doing the live streams publicly here. We're going to be taking some nuggets out of here. So please get your copies of the Abundance Now, Lisa Nichols. I'll remind you guys again, the fast is ending tomorrow. Some of y'all may want to continue on the fast, but definitely I want to encourage you guys to get that book so that we can pull some nuggets from it, because it's a pretty thick book. And we probably won't be able to cover like a whole chapter per day or whatever, because it's pretty lengthy chapters. So I'll let you guys know how the flow is going to go for that for the live streams. But pick up Lisa Nichols' Abundance Now book. For those of you who are on the Patreon side, you already know what book we're going to be covering. So make sure that you grab that. And then let's stay into this work. Okay. Okay. All right. And Tony's recent video, 5 Keys to Self-Love, number 5 was work on yourself relentlessly. Yes. Amen. Amen. That was a good, all Tony's videos be good though. I think he dropped 2 today that I didn't get to watch yet. So hopefully I can watch it or listen to it while I'm cooking, because I didn't eat yet. I didn't have dinner yet. So I got to cook before I can go to sleep. All right. Thanks for the love, ladies. Hey, Divinity's in the room. He's using us to help her he's using her to help us. Amen. Amen. You better say that. The Lord will always protect his anointed. Come on, Sherry. Better come with it. Lisa Smiles is in the building. Hey, Lisa, so good to see you. I'm 4 videos behind on her YouTube drops, but they are so good and powerful. Yeah, they are so good. So good. She'll give you bite-sized nuggets that you can digest like that. That's what I said. If you really want this work, you can get the transformation just by watching her YouTube videos. I ain't lying to y'all. You can get the transformation just by doing the work that Lisa Nichols shares on her YouTube channel that she's had for years. But you got to be willing to do the work. You got to be willing to do the work. Lisa Smile says, Sophia, you got me reading more. Amen. Amen. And I'm going to tell y'all something. Y'all got me reading more. Because one of the things that I always said is I would rather spend my days reading than working. That may sound crazy, but I would never create the time necessary to read. I have an arsenal of books. If you walk through my house, people say, you got like a library. I have books everywhere. But ask me how many of them have I read. So y'all helping me hold me accountable too, to help me get through reading these books. Come on. Both on here and inside the financial education book club that we're building on the Debt Demolisher TV. We're going to get it done, and we're going to learn, and we're going to grow together. What I say? We're going to learn and we're going to grow together. I was wondering what the next book was. Yes, Sherry, that's the next book for the live streams for the DDTV channel on YouTube. Absolutely. Abundance Now by Lisa Nichols. Put it on your list. Put it on your list. Put it in your budgets and go ahead and pick it up, because we're starting March 1st with that book. Coach Root was saying, yes, 2 books for next month. Let's go, Coach Root. You already know. Let's go, Coach Root. You already know. Lisa Smiles says, I can't wait to join. Yes, Lisa. Actually, you know, what I wanted to share, and I think I shared this yesterday, because Coach Root had brought it to my attention that when she signed up, it didn't take anything. So it says that it'll pull the money on the 1st, or it'll do the charge on the 1st, or whatever the case may be, because I don't have tiers set up. So you can pledge whatever amount you want to pledge, and it'll run on the 1st of the month. So I think that's why it's different for mine. I know with Tony's, when we did Tony's, they pulled the money immediately and then they charge again on the 1st. But I think it's because Tony Gaskins has different levels. So depending on what level you choose, they'll take the money right away. But I don't have any tiers set up on mine. So I'm assuming that's why it didn't take, because I didn't know until Coach Root told me. Because I was like, Coach Root, we supposed to be on this fast. I said, we're supposed to be on this fast. She was like, no. It said that it won't take the money to the 1st. It didn't take the money. So thank you for that, Coach Root. Thank you for that. And also the links to my Patreon page is also in the description box as well. It's in the description box of this video. Divinity is saying, yes, angels are real. Had a visit from one while in intense labor pains. A giant 7-foot tail wearing white garb with a gold belt, giving me confirmation it was okay. I'll never forget that moment. Thank God. Divinity, that just sent chills through my whole body, and my body is still chilling from my calves to my head. Wow. Keisha saying awesome. Lisa Smile saying thank God, Divinity. Sherry saying yes, they are real. They real. Shifting Mindsets with Shawnee is in the building. Hey, Shawnee, so good to see you. So good to see you. Y'all know Shawnee's book is also on my book list for this quarter. No, for next quarter, because I got my books for this quarter. So next quarter, Shawnee's book is one of the books I'm going to be reading. Come on, y'all. Let's go. Reading is fundamental. Dust that shelf off and read. Amen. Amen, amen, amen. Coach Root is saying that's correct. March 1st. She says, oh, okay, I didn't know that because I'm still trying to fast until the end of the month. Yeah, hold it down. Hold it down. Do what you got to do. I'm not telling nobody to break your fast. Hold it down. Do what you need to do. And I'm just giving everybody full ahead so that we can plan effectively around that. All right. So the assignment is to think about all of the relationships that are important to you. How many of y'all did y'all assignment? How many of y'all did y'all assignment? Have you thought about the relationships that are important to you? Now I know my relationship with my mom is ungiven. It's a non-thinkable, like off the top. Because I think I've been attached to my mom emotionally and her well-being emotionally since the age of 5. And that has not left me yet. That has not left me yet. So I already know that's a bond. No, regardless of what may happen, I can never turn my back on my mom. I can never not do anything for my mom to a certain degree, to a certain degree. But I'm learning how to create boundaries in my relationships with my mom, because I know that in the past I would just do anything for her because she's been through so much that, you know, I just do whatever for her. And she knows that. She knows that. She said it to me before. She said that to me before. She said, I know you have a soft spot for me. She know it. I ain't gonna hide it because I do. I had the soft spot since I was 5. I probably had the soft spot since I came out the womb. To be honest, I've been attached to my mama at the hip. At the hip. So think about all the relationships that are important to you. Begin to bond with them without having to exchange a gift between you. I know we did this for the Bet Your Spending Challenge, and some of y'all ended up still buying gifts, but you limited the scope of it. You limited the amount of it. You limited the amount that you spent or the number of items that you ended up purchasing for them. But in essence, some of y'all still exchanged a gift. So yes, I want to celebrate you for the work that you did with the Bet Your Spending Challenge, regardless of what it was. But for this day's exercise, I want to challenge you to think about how you can bond with the ones that you love, that you care for, that you admire, without having to exchange a gift. You give me something, I give you something. What is another way that you can connect? How can you focus on the connection of the relationship? How can you focus on the bond? What does Maya Angelou say? People will never forget, and I can't remember it off the top of my head, and I should know this, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. How do you make the ones that you care about feel? What does your actions display? Not your money. What does your actions display? Do you make them feel thought of? by calling them? Do you make them feel thought of by sending them a thinking of you text? Do you make them feel thought of by sending them a digital card? Do you make them feel thought of by having flowers delivered to their door unexpectedly? Do you make them feel thought of and appreciated by you encouraging them and telling them that they're doing well? Do you make them feel encouraged or appreciated by dropping off a plate, a homemade plate, a Chef Joe plate? Come on, somebody. How do you make them feel without the use of money or credit cards, for that matter? And what are you teaching them to expect from you? Are you teaching them to always expect gifts from you? Because people become accustomed to what you show them. So if you constantly showing up as the gift person every time, they're going to expect to get a gift from you every time. So how are you creating versatility in the ways in which you show love? And understanding the fact that money doesn't always have to be involved. Quality time, words of affirmation. Let's go through these 5 love languages. Well, 5 minus 1, because we ain't gonna talk about the gifts. Because the gifts means you got to exchange and you got to spend some coins if it's the gift in that way. Acts of service. What's the last one? Physical touch. When was the last time you hugged somebody? I'm a hugger, and I've been hugging since I was a kid. I'm a hugger. That's what I do. And as small as I am, people always tell me you give the best hugs. Because I just know how to embrace. I've been doing this as a kid. I remember I used to run in my grandma's house. She'd be sitting in her high chair. Yeah, my grandma had a high chair. She'd be sitting in her high chair, and I'll run, and I'll just fall in her lap and wrap my arms around her as much as I could, my little arms. And she would just pat my back like that. So I'd be in her lap. I'm gonna embrace you. I'm gonna squeeze you. I'm gonna hug you real tight. That's what I do. So how do you show love? Do you give people a smile? A smile can go a long way. I told y'all the story about the person in the elevator. I had got on the elevator one morning at work. This was, of course, pre the pandemic. And I walked in the elevator. This woman was standing there, and I looked at her and I smiled and I nodded my head, said, "How you doing?" "Oh, good morning." I think I said good morning. No, that's what I say. I say good morning. And I turn around and I stand, push my floor. And then all of a sudden she turns to me and she says, "Thank you for smiling and for saying good morning." She said, I've had a rough day. And it was 8 o'clock in the morning. She had a rough day before she even got into work. Coming up from the garage. So just the smallest act can turn something around even for a stranger. The smallest act. So can you imagine that for a relationship with someone who you don't know, a complete stranger, versus the power that it can have for a relationship with someone that you do have? How often do you laugh with your friends? How often do you laugh with your niece and your nephew? How often do you laugh with your siblings? How often do you tell them something that can make them feel better and mean it? There's a lot of different ways that we can show love. And it doesn't have to be through spending. So you want to rescue your relationships through the highest form of currency that serves every human being, which is love. Whew. Tracy Ann says, mine is relationships, and mine is the relationship I have with my grandbabies. Every time I go to the store, I buy stuff. So every time I see them and then I have something for them, big or small, and they have so much already. That's big. So now the question is, to challenge that a little bit further is, why is that? Why is that every time you go into the store, you got to pick up something for them? And when you show up, you got to have something for them. What's the root of that? Just something to journal about extra. Lisa Smiles is saying, I smile and gonna make you laugh, but I'm not a hugger. Sounds like my mom. I love it. Tracy Ann, I already had bought their Valentine's gifts in January, so I didn't have to spend during the fast. I will do better from now on. Amen. Amen. And that's all it just takes is observation. No need to beat yourself up over what happened in the past. Just choose to do something differently going forward, if that is what your true desire is. So, all right, how y'all feeling today? How y'all feeling over on Clubhouse? Tajiri is in the building. Hey, Tajiri, so good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How y'all feeling? Tomorrow is day 21. Tomorrow is day 21 of the, I'm about to say the Bet Your Spending Challenge of the 21-day financial fast by Michelle Singletary. Right there, right there. It's 21. And I'm excited to see what tomorrow's reading is going to be. I just looked at the title just now because y'all know when we finish chapter 20 is right there on the next page. So I said, oh, okay, financial freedom. Okay, that's what we're talking about tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. A great way to close out the fast. A great way to close out the fast with discussionable lessons. But y'all know I always got something in my sleeve, so just stay tuned. Just make sure y'all come tomorrow. Just make sure you show up tomorrow. Just make sure you show up tomorrow. Same time, same channel. Y'all already know. Okay, you all. I have not had my dinner and I need to cook and I need to FaceTime my niece back so I can work on my relationships. Come on, somebody. I got to work on one relationship at a time because I'm only one person. And I do have things that I need to finish, but I have to remember to not allow my projects to overstep my family relationships, my connectedness. Because people will remember how you made them feel. And I don't want nobody to feel like I neglected them. I don't want nobody to feel like I ignored them. I don't want anybody to feel like I put my job over them. I don't want anybody to feel like I put my dreams over them. I don't want nobody to feel like I put this YouTube channel over them. But y'all priority now. Y'all priority now. The DDTV family is priority. Okay. Priority, priority, priority. I love y'all and I love your support. I appreciate it so much. Divinity is saying, I am too, Sophia. Love to hug. Not now, though. Yeah, not now because of these COVID streets. Miss hugging my mom. I give her heavenly hugs, though. We never know who needs a little kindness. Yes. Yes. I remember when I met my younger brother for the first time in person, they had surprised me because they didn't tell me that he was coming down. So I was so surprised to see him in person. I got so excited. And when I saw him and we embraced and hugged for the first time, my brother, our older brother, ended up taking a picture of us while we were hugging. And so y'all know when I hug, my eyes be closed because I just be like, and then I was so excited. And my brother sent me the picture and I was like, oh. And this was when I was on Instagram because y'all know I found my father's side in 2019. So I posted that picture on Instagram and was just saying like how, and it was January of 2020 when I met my younger brother in person for the first time. And I think I did a post like Dear January or something like that. It was just so blissful, but the picture was so beautiful. And one of my coworkers, not the coworker who got me the flowers, but another coworker had commented on that post that I put out there. And she was like, and you give the best. She was like, I'm so happy for you. And then she said, and you give the best hugs. Because it was almost like she could probably feel or see, like feel the embrace. Because yeah, I hug my coworkers. I hug everybody. I told y'all, even with the Kevin situation, when I did the little ask people for the dollars or whatever through Cash App, and I didn't know why I was asking for it. And then I was like, Lord, what you want me to do with all this money? Then he finally said, give it to Kevin. I was like, oh, I can give it to Kevin. So when I presented it to Kevin and got him a little Christmas gift, I gave Kevin a hug. And people like, you hugging homeless people? Yeah, I'm not about to pass no judgment. I talk to Kevin every morning. We talk every morning. We chit chat every morning. We don't really get to eat together, but I normally, bring him food or whatever, and we chop it up. And this was a beautiful moment because Kevin was in tears when I presented that card and the gift to him. He was crying. So before I left, I gave him a hug, told him Merry Christmas, and I got in my car. I'm a hugger. That's what I do. So she probably remembered the embrace because I would hug everybody. I would hug everybody pre this pandemic. Not so much now, but yeah, definitely. All right, y'all. I hope you all enjoyed tonight. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Just signed up for your Patreon. Thank you, Divinity. Yay! We got another Patreon. Yeah. We got another Patreon. Hey. I'm super excited. Thank you so much. This gets me so excited. Oh my gosh. I can only imagine what God is going to do with this personal finance / financial education book club community. I'm so excited. I don't know what God get ready to do, but I'm telling you, I'm just being obedient to the creation. I ain't lying to y'all. I'm going to be obedient to the creation. Come on. I'm getting ready to be obedient to the creation because this the work and we got to stay in the work as always. All right. Thank you so much, Divinity. I'm so excited that you're here. So you should be able to see the post and that way you'll know what book that we're going to be jumping into for the month of March, or it's probably going to be a little bit longer than that. Yeah, it's probably going to be longer than that. It's probably going to be longer than a month because we're going to be doing some work. I hope y'all ready because we finna get it in over here in this book club. We finna get it all the way in. Okay. Thank you guys. Tracy Ann is saying another great session. Thank you so much. Lisa H is in the building. I ain't see you dropping here. Hey, Lisa H. So good to see you. I see your prayer hands. I love it. Loving Christ is saying stay blessed. Thank you so much too for joining Patreon. I appreciate you so much. Lisa Smiles is saying you so sweet, Sophia, just a pure spirit. Thank you so much. Thank you. To God be the glory. Enjoy it as usual. Good night, ladies, from Q Scott. And then Divinity is saying, no problem. You're welcome. Thank y'all so much. We finna bring it home, possibly tomorrow for day 21, but come ready Do your work, think about your relationships and how you can bond better, how you can bond in different ways with people, with the ones that you love, with the ones that you care about. And let me go ahead and do this, get this together, because I realized yesterday I had shared the wrong thing. I shared the wrong thing, but we're going to get it right tonight. But as always, your financial prosperity awaits you, and so does your financial sanity. And y'all know what I'm already going to tell you to do, and that is what? Get to work. All right. Bye.
The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melonē. The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melonē. The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia